Good evening, everyone. My name is Alex Ohemeng, and I'm a PhD student at the University of Texas at El Paso, where I study rhetoric and composition. My research focuses on digital rhetoric. Today, I want to share a project about how young people in Africa, especially Ghana, use social media to challenge Western narratives about Africa. My presentation is about rhetoric, it is about power, and it's about who gets to tell stories in digital spaces. Let me start with the problem. In Chinua Achebe's 1977 An Image of Africa, he showed how Western literature created and maintained degrading stereotypes about the continent. He was talking about Joseph Conrad's novel, but his argument still applies today because the stories haven't changed much. Africa is still presented as helpless, backward, or dangerous in mainstream Western media. But here's what's different now. Bill Ashcroft et al. Wrote about how colonized peoples write back to empire through literature. That was back in 1989. Today, Ghanaian youth need not to wait for a publisher. They write back instantly on social media. Here is an example. A few years ago, that was in 2021, the hashtag The Africa the Media Never Shows You went viral. Media firms such as CNN Africans, including some Ghanaians, posted photos of modern cities, tech hubs, universities, all the things that international news ignores. I connect this to Chimamanda's famous TED Talk about the danger of a single story. She explained how Western media tells one story about Africa and over, and that single story becomes the only story people know. This hashtag was Africans collectively refusing that single story. They use the same platforms to create what is referred as rhetorical counter-archives. What they do is that they are building alternative records of what Africa looks like. Theoretically, I'm bringing together two fields. First, digital rhetoric. I am using Adam Banks' 2006, where he noted that digital spaces can be sites of resistance and transformation for marginalized communities. Second, post-colonial theory. Here, I adopt Linda Smith's decolonizing methodologies. My research asks what specific rhetorical moves do young Ghanaians make when they challenge new colonial narratives? How do they use platform features strategically? And more critically, can these digital interventions shift dominant narratives, or do algorithms and platforms politics limit their reach? For methods, I'm collecting public social media posts where Ghanaians directly respond to Western framings of Africa. This includes replies to major news outlets, responses to NGO campaigns, and participatory hashtags. But I'm being careful about ethics, even though these posts are technically public, according to Boyd and Marwick 2011. Just because something is visible online doesn't mean people get researchers to use it. So I'm working on consent processes and thinking about how to credit activists properly. Linda Smith's work guides me here. She says research on indigenous and colonized communities should benefit those communities, not just the researchers' careers. So why does this matter for thinking about late-stage American empire? 3 reasons. First, Edward Said showed in Orientalism back in 1978 that empire works through discourse, through the stories we tell and who gets to tell them. Controlling narratives about the global south remains central to maintaining economic and political dominance today. Second, digital platforms are not neutral. Noble 2018 in Algorithms of Oppression shows how search engines and social media algorithms reproduce racism and bias. So even when Ghanaians create counter-narratives, platform design might limit who sees them. Third, this is part of longer histories. For challenges, first, social media is temporal. Because posts get deleted, account gets suspended, and then platforms change. How do I build a reliable archive? Second, there is a scale problem. Millions of posts exist. How do I sample? I'm also thinking about contextual issues. Going forward, my immediate goal is developing a clear ethical protocol for this work. But the bigger question stays with me. What does it mean politically when people who have been object of Western discourse can't suddenly talk back in real time? In them. These are the sources I consulted for the work, and thank you very much.